हमने लाइव जो वीडियो पोस्ट करा हमने, उसमें मैंने पूरा बहुत मेहनत करी है, वो टूल से एनहांस करी है मैंने आवाज, कि वो पीछे का सबका नॉइज हट जाए और थोड़ा सा यार बॉटम रेड्स द बॉटम रेड्स इज इट ओवर फॉर मेनू अपकमिंग लिखा हुआ है, वेरी नाइस। चैतन्य,
हाँ बोलो।
इसको ना ऐसा करना कि स्क्रीन का वो है,
ये करो ना, फुल स्क्रीन करो ना।
बस वो आना चाहिए स्क्रीन पे हम लोगों का, और चैट भी कैंसिल कर दो मैसेजेस।
कर दिया, वो निकाल, स्क्रीन शेयर करना बंद कर दो ना आपके।
ओह सॉरी 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 माय बैड।
हाँ अभी आ जाएगा, बढ़िया।
फिर से आ गया है, अच्छा हटेगा अभी।
आएगा।
चैट ओपन है ना इस बारी, नाइस।
शुरू कर दिया क्या? अच्छा हाँ,
हाँ,
आगे
it's like-
अब भी आगे।
मैं इसका लिंक डाल देता हूँ, अगर वो हट जाए स्क्रीन से तो
हट गया है,
ठीक है।
मेरा स्क्रीन तो बराबर दिख रहा है।
ठीक है भाई, मैं इसे लाइव करके आराम से बैठता हूँ, मेरे हो रही कमर में दर्द।
नोटिफिकेशन आ गया, इट स्टार्टेड आई गेस।
या 58 फॉलोअर्स, और अपने पर्सनल से सब लोग ट्वीट कर दो भाई।
हाँ एक मिनट।
वो हाँ लिंक भेज दो, उस पर डाल लेते हो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में।
भाई व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में किसी और को डालना पड़ेगा यार, मेरे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में प्रॉब्लम है।
मोबाइल किसके पास है?
रुको क्या डालना है? यूट्यूब लिंक डालना है क्या?
हाँ अपने ग्रुप में डाल दो, मैं भेज देता हूँ जिसको भेज दो। वो कम्युनिटी वाले में डाल दो। कौन वो हेमंत पूछ रहा?
जस्ट अ
मुझे
सेकंड।
भी मिल गया।
ठीक है भाई, मैंने भी अपने से शेयर कर दिया। लेट पीपल ज्वाइन। अभी कोई चैट पे आया?
यूट्यूब लिंक भेजना है ना कम्युनिटी में?
चैट ऑन है ना मेरे end से?
हाँ चैट तो ऑन दिख रही है मुझे।
ठीक है, इस बार स्ट्रीमिंग फॉर किड्स देखिए।
हरीश has shared the link. Perfect. Okay.
भाई बॉटम रेट से अच्छा, अरे बॉटम रेट से किसी ने एक बार रीट्वीट कर दिया था कोई चीज।
ठीक है, आवाज तो आ रहा है सबका।
कूल कूल कूल।
क्या ब्रो?
ग्रुप पे डाल दो व्हाट्सएप वाले ना।
हाँ डाला है।
Yeah, it's done. All good to start?
ऑल गुड।
Live chat visible सबको?
आई थिंक सो। हाँ हरीश स्पीक, आई विल टेस्ट। Where is the Snorlax? Hemant is asking Harish कहाँ गया?
अन्ना
Why is it always kids watching भाई? उसमें से 3 तो हम ही होते हैं, 1-2 ऐसे कोई आ जाता है।
एक तो मैं ही
चलो।
हूँ।
क्या हाल है हेमंत भाई? सौम्यजीत is also here. Nice. सौम्यजीत is why by the way. In case you guys didn't know.
अपना हाँ रुको, मैं ट्वीट करता हूँ उसको।
करो भाई, ट्वीट करो, जनता लेके आओ। 8 people are watching. Hello, I am back. Sorry. हाय अथर्व भाई, क्या हाल चाल है? अथर्व भाई is one of our most loyal people. Always there when he always shows up. बीमारी से बच रहा हूँ। और बीमार हो तो ऑफिस क्यों गए हो भाई हेमंत? बीमारी से बच रहा हूँ। Oh, Nikhil is also here.
Raul.
Hello, Nikhil.
Raul.
क्या बात है? 11 people watching. We have audiences.
Good.
Nice. कब start करना है फिर? अब और is anyone else joining? या start करें? चैतन्य
Yeah, I
और
think
कोई
we
join
can
कर रहा है?
start.
Start करें ना?
कौन करेगा? ग्रुप में
ठीक है चलो यार.
बात कर दे.
Okay, so we'll start the discussion, and if anyone in the chat, anyone wants to ask a question, say something, and wants us to discuss anything, so let us know.
Yeah.
So first, let's start off with Amorim. We have a lot of things to say about the post-match interview that we had. Along with that, also the press conference he had afterwards. So what do you guys have to say about it? What do you think? What do you make of Amorim overall? Like the way he reacted very emotionally, obviously. What do you make of him, and how does that come across? Because it's very unusual to see a manager react that way. I don't think we have seen any United manager in general react that way. So what do you guys think?
I think I would say it was pretty much in the moment, and it was fine because really nobody expected us to lose that night. He himself didn't expect it, and the performance was pathetic from the players right from the first half itself. So I think it was an obvious reaction to it. I would say he is kind of an emotional kind. I would say so. It's okay. I would say.
Oh, someone said politician behavior.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
What do you think, Kulkarni? What do you make of it?
Yeah, it was a highly emotional reaction after a very bizarre, shocking, whatever you would like to call it, game. I mean, none of us were expecting that much of a shambolic performance against a fourth-tier team, to be very honest. But it was bad, especially after what the promising signs we had against Arsenal. The not so promising but decent performance against Fulham. So we were not expecting that performance against Grimsby. So that reaction was warranted and expected. Amorim is a hugely emotional guy, like Shetty Bhai mentioned, and even in his post-match pressers and the pre-game presser which he had against Burnley, he's specified the same thing, that he's not going to change this. So there will be times where he'll be showing this highly emotional side, and that's something he wouldn't change. So that's who he is what he described himself as in the presser. And frankly, I don't have an issue as long as the results are there. So I mean, I think that reaction was pretty much summarized as to how the fans would react when our team played in such a bad manner. So I don't blame the reaction as such. It's just that it needs to be translated into results. And if we are not seeing the results, then reactions like these take center stage. So yeah, maybe we should be focusing on that.
So you're saying the perception would have been a little different if the results were coming our way. That's what you're suggesting.
Definitely. So now the results are not also coming, so people will find out things to downplay him and how he's doing badly and everything. So each and every attribute will be scrutinized, as it always happens with a club like United.
But independent of what the results were, do you think a manager who is managing a club as big as Man United, they should be reacting as like? So what this reflects is that his emotional regulation is probably not the best, and it will not only have an effect on the fans. I mean, the effect of fans mostly shows in the games, and I think match-going fans will probably be the same. But it has an effect on online fans, which still isn't very important, I think, to the first team. But it will have an effect on the players. So, and players themselves would be embarrassed by a performance like that. So, you guys think it's? I mean, regardless of what happens, what I feel is that manager should have his composure in place. Although, in the larger scheme of things, I don't really care. When the results start coming, even the weirdest things, people don't mind that. Like Klopp came out and said we lost because the size of the grass was too high and nobody. The Liverpool fans were not too asked about it. They were not too worried about, you know, I mean, how unreasonable that is because the team was
And to
winning.
be
So
honest, Pep has said worse things in front of the media.
he said,
So he said, and I quote, "I want to harm myself." So that's that's not something which managers should be saying. But yeah, I mean, see, so these are emotional people who are passionate about their job, which he himself described himself as. Of course, there should be some level of regulation. He's there. He's representing a very big football club, but yeah, you can't take out the passionate side out of a human being. And he has said that he won't be changing that.
Somebody is reminding of what Pep said. Yeah, I want to harm myself. See,
Exactly.
that's a good example to be very honest. What I think is ki, like Pep did not really say like why this looks bad is because this is your first full season and at the very beginning
Hmm.
after a season that does not look very ideal and obviously the pressure is on you because last season did not end very well. We can always argue about like he did not have his own team, he did not have his players, and blah blah blah. But the thing is, ki, you're coming out and saying stuff like like you're basically hinting towards leaving. Like if 22 players, and I understand he probably did not mean it, but I don't think that's ideal. I don't think that could be justified in any way. And in my opinion, what's wrong is wrong, but at the same time, what I do expect is for him to learn from his experience, which is something he has. Like, it's not the first time Amorim said something publicly and then came out and said, "Oh, I probably should not have said it," because he does that a lot. So that's a part of his nature, and given he's also 40, so he's also I think evolving and getting to know how to deal with media. He's also not. I mean, one thing that I feel like he is a bit overblown is him calling himself an emotional person, and because that is not the justification because I don't think any sports person is not passionate. I don't think there's any sports person who does not. Like, because people come into sports with passion. I don't really think passion is a good justification of not being measured in your words.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
anyway,
there are arguments on both sides of the coin, basically. So, Ten Hag was
More or less.
admonished for not showing passion in front of the
yeah,
media. So, I
yeah,
mean,
he was not very
we
argumentative.
can't win over everybody. That's the thing. So,
Yeah,
Mainoo
it is
was
what it
fuming.
is. As long as the results are there, I think
yeah,
these things won't take center stage. Currently, the results are not showing, and of course, these things will be then pointed out. So, yeah.
yeah. I think Postecoglou is also a good example. Like in the beginning, he was very much revered by their fans, even by media.
Hmm.
How like he's a sweet talker, right? So
Hmm.
obviously people will enjoy. But like when results started to fall down, he started looking like a clown. He said every time I look at the end of the tunnel, there's another train coming.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So,
so I think it's yeah, the perception is dictated by the results.
exactly.
Okay, so I think that was pretty much on Amorim. Is there anything that you guys want to add? Anything, chat? Anything that you guys think we missed? Anything you guys want to say? Nikhil says you have to have your figurehead to be so vulnerable to your own emotions while he is in the process to make players buy into his idea. If he flips the table every time he loses, which is more often than not, teams will stop playing for him sooner than later. What do you guys think? That is a reasonable point. If the manager is reacting like that after every loss, but does he react out like that after every loss? I mean, this was in United's history the biggest. We've never lost to a fourth division team, so
This is the
you can
biggest
make an
loss.
argument that in our history this was the worst ever loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if your manager was calm and smiling after losing to Grimsby, would you like that as well as a player of the
Hmm.
team? That's another counterpoint you need to consider.
I think it's not really a matter of how like manager looking
Exactly.
angry is not really a problem. It's what he said. है ना
Hmm.
कि about hinting towards 22 players cannot change. There's something needs to change. Although something needs to change is still a reasonable dialogue to make because something does need to change.
He let his
Exactly.
demons out.
Grimsby isn't the first time. Bristol, Astana. I don't think any of these teams that Hemant is mentioning. I don't think any one of these teams were fourth tier. Remind me of Bole.
Ole.
Why a loss and a worry about the reaction when you can focus on winning.
Exactly.
Okay, Athar gave a good piece of advice last time that we should do live stream more often, and he was right. Thank you, Athar bhai.
We will try, surely.
Anyway, let's discuss the Mainoo situation now.
Yeah.
So the situation is I think there are two aspects of that situation that we definitely need to touch on, and I think both of the aspects are separate. One is playing time, which is also like related to the World Cup coming, and he's 20, understandable. There's a lot of competition in the England team too, understandable, and that's why he wants more minutes, understandable.
And
Other
Tuchel's
aspect
comments
is
has not played well as well towards the
sorry.
situation. Thomas Tuchel's comments on the situation has not helped the situation as well.
आग लगा रहा है भाई वो आदमी
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
बिना
So,
मतलब आग लगा रहा है हमारे घर में आके ऐसे ही इतनी आग लगी हुई है वो केरोसिन फेंक के जा रहा है बट खैर and another situation is his contract. So first let's talk about minutes. Let's not talk about if we want to sell him. We will get onto that later, but let's talk about his minutes. Talk about his role in the Amorim system and how reasonable of him is to ask, this late in the window that he wants to leave. What do you guys make of it?
CGK, you can go first.
okay. Alright, so see, I don't have a problem of him asking to leave on a loan. I have a problem with the timing of the request. So it's too late in the window. We are already depleted with our midfield resources. It's understandable him wanting game time with the World Cup coming up this coming year. But the timing, man, I mean, you're asking to do that at the end of the window when you have quite a less chance of getting someone as your replacement. And we are already very depleted in that department. So it becomes very difficult for the club to comply with such a request, and I think the club has responded in a similar manner. So the timing of the request is something which I am very concerned about. Maybe if you could have done that earlier in the window, maybe the club would have complied with the request as well. We never know. You also saw some news regarding he could be eventually sold for some prices along 45-50 million is what there
It
was
is
some
believed that United would accept.
yeah
It's a very
something like
very weird phrasing because
vague.
it looks like Chelsea's
It
perspective.
was quite vague. Yeah, it was quite vague.
Because
Could be
there was
Chelsea's
another-
valuation as well. Yeah.
Like another report came from Darren from Mirror. He was saying Napoli is ready to give 50 million for him. So if our asking price was 45, then why is the club ready to give 50 million?
Exactly. So
That
it just
does
seems
not
that
really add up.
the buying plug club was making up those valuations. It does look that from the tweet.
I mean, they had that perception that United will accept. I don't think that tells anything about what United's stand is. But what it does tell is that if there is a price for a player, I mean, they might be open to. And I think I don't know who wrote it, but there was the most recent report I read on it was that United won't come in his way if he wishes to leave. So, and I don't think that, I think that's pretty fair from the club's part as well. They don't want to sell him, but also they won't hold him captive. Like if he wants to leave, then he can leave. Every player has a price.
Yeah, we don't need a Pogba-like situation, right?
Hmm.
One more thing that I found a little odd was the fact that if anyone has watched the preseason and anyone sees how Amorim's system works out, it's super clear that because we just have two midfielders, so you generally need one to have more defensive awareness, to have more defensive know-how, and the other one to also have it. But if it's Bruno, then the first one definitely has to have a good recovery pace, a good understanding of defending, and all the things that how Bruno missed out that Smith Rowe run because he that's not his game, so it's understandable as well. So what I was trying to say is that
You can't pair Bruno and Mainoo in the pivot.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean that's Amorim's headache to manage. But the thing is that what I found a little odd was if Mainoo was aware that that's the position that he's fighting for, I think I am assuming that was made clear to him how the
Start of the
coach
season
sees him
itself,
in the squad. Then why was the request, why did the request come so late in the window? Ideally you could have made that request a little sooner.
Yeah.
KTY, what do you think?
Exactly, that's what I think, right? Because you're competing with Bruno only, and it's pretty much clear that Bruno is going to struggle at pivot throughout the season. So there is a good chance that you could stake a claim for that spot eventually in the season. So why not put some work and get the whatever Amorim wants from you? And obviously, if he does that role well, whatever Amorim wants from him, he would eventually get into the plans for Tuchel as well for World Cup. Because
So that's the argument people are making now. They're saying he's competing with the best player in the team and the captain who probably won't be
he's not
dropped.
competing for
So
number,
how will
number
he?
10
Yeah.
role, right? Not for the cam spot. If he,
Yeah, so that's the thing. Now I don't think he's seen as a proper cam either. I think he'll get minutes there definitely, or he'll get minutes in the way that in some games when Bruno is pushed higher, and then he can play in that role.
I think it's all
It's
about.
definitely too early in the season to say that he's not going to get minutes at all.
He's
Yeah,
not,
pretty much.
definitely
That
not
I
in our
agree.
favor, I would say,
Yeah.
because if that was the case, he would have been loaned out or so
Yeah.
quite earlier.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
is in
I think he's agitating a little bit right now. It's understandable because manager came out and said it out loud. But what I think is even without him saying it out loud, I mean even as a fan, it was pretty much clear to me. And then the larger argument comes about the system that the manager is playing.
Yeah.
Why does your system only have two midfield options and you have oh my god, Harish is here. Harish,
My God.
oh my god,
Undertaker
Anna.
is here.
Let me put my hat on first. And then
Yeah, Chitti bhai, go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Question
go ahead.
again,
Till he's putting his hat on. Yeah.
Okay, so let's read the chat a little bit. So Nikhil says this is Mainoo and his agent reacting to words of Amorim. All those arose after Amorim said Mainoo has to compete with Bruno for his position. Again, that is what I was referring to. How was that not clear to Mainoo? Mahadevan says my main issue is we can very well accommodate him in the team by just dropping Mount and pushing Bruno forward. But if you're dropping Mount, I mean Mount would obviously get dropped when Sesko comes in your front three, Sesko, Mbomo and
Cunha
Cunha.
and Mbomo. Yeah.
so Mount is anyway getting dropped. So where if you're pushing Bruno high, then who are you planning to drop? And okay, he makes an argument about the system. Everything is wrong with the system. Our best players are never playing in their best positions. Somewhat agreeable. Mbomo is a winger, shoe font as a 10. I don't think Mbomo is playing as a 10. He's playing more as a wide forward. You can see his short map and heat map as well. Like it's mostly coming from the outside. Amar is a wing back. Definitely, I agree with that. This goes on. Someone called Harish Snorlax. So Harish, what do you make of it? Harish ji, बताइए. Mainoo situation.
No,
What your thoughts?
I think I've seen Mahadevan's message, right? And then I agree a bit that you can accommodate a system where you have Casemiro, Bruno, and Mainoo. But the biggest issue I think is I don't see Amorim think of Bruno as a number 10 because what we have seen, or at least he's talked in the press conferences, even in the preseason, which is something I've noticed, is that he's talked about how Bruno Fernandes likes to drop deep to receive the ball because he gets frustrated when the ball doesn't come to him. And because of this, you are one man down in the attack going forward. So there's one man less in the box. So I think he's talked about this exact same scenario where he said, you want Bruno to have more touches on the ball. So him dropping deep is important for the team. But at the same time, him dropping deep also causes an imbalance in the attack because there's no one to fill his place in the attack going forward. So the natural conclusion for him to fit Bruno in this system is obviously if you go outside and talk about the fact that all the best players are not fit, like Bruno should be playing in a 4-2-3-1 as a number 10, Mainoo should be in CM position and etc. We can talk about the 3-4-3 system all day long. But the main thing is if you want to talk about Bruno and Bruno fitting into this system, his best position is the central midfield position according to Amorim and according to me as well, because you want your midfielder, you want someone like Bruno to have 60 touches, 70 touches a game. And we have seen the touches for number 10 in Amorim's system, they're like 30 or 40. So if you kind of cut down Bruno's touches from 60 to 30, obviously the team is going to be hugely impacted because we don't really have any midfielders right now who can make those passes that Amorim wants from his midfielders.
He's a best chance creator. Yeah.
Agreed, yeah. So coming to Mainoo, as we said, we have 60. We basically have a midfielder who basically Amorim wants a midfielder who makes these touches, 60 touches, and pass the ball forward, like hoof ball or whatever way of passing the ball forward. Mainoo does not do that as of today. Mainoo is more of a dribble first and carry the ball person than a pass forward ball person, right? So obviously, Mainoo, even if at his best form, may not fit into Amorim's system, may not displace Bruno. So
I think
get.
I think he if I were to pick two, I would start him over Bruno in that system. I have a solid problem. I understand everything.
Yes.
If I were to make the decision, then I would start Mainoo over Bruno. And for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
my reasoning is that I find Mainoo a lot more secure in the deeper areas with the ball. I found Mainoo to have a better understanding of the defensive duties of the role, and he has a little better composure too. Has better physicality than Bruno as well. So, and I do agree that he does not have Bruno's passing range. Very few players have, but I don't think you need an extraordinary passing range to play in that role. So I think what's needed is mobility, not something that is Mainoo's strength. But you also need a lot of composure, press resistance in the deeper areas. Someone who's comfortable receiving the ball in deeper areas and play off with players. Because what I've seen is that in this system, our best football generally comes up when players are close to each other and they play those 1-2s and link ups, and then the space opens up. And I think that is something that really suits Mainoo very well. But again, seeing the situation practically, so what my overall thought is that I understand Mainoo's side completely. Like, there's a World Cup coming, and he is competing with Bruno for that role, and it's natural for him to ask more minutes. I think it would have been ideal if he had asked more. But what I think is that he can give it until January, because recency bias is a big thing. If he gets fair bit of minutes till January, Tuchel will see it. Also, if he doesn't, then he can ask for a loan in January and get his national team selection like Rashford got. Just like making an argument, because Rashford did get his selection based on that Villa stint he had, because he barely played for Barcelona. So you would naturally assume it's because of what he did for Villa, and I don't think he did an awful lot there. So, and then I also understand Amorim's side to it. Amorim, like, he wants a lot more out of Mainoo. He wants him to push higher, like to push himself more, develop his defensive areas or whatever areas of improvements he feels, be it passing range or other stuff, physicality. Then I think it's fair for the club to not want to let him leave this late. And I also think patience is required from both fans and Mainoo and Amorim, everyone, for Mainoo to, like, it's been just 3 games. Mainoo has started 1 out of those 3 games. I don't think it's the end of the world for him. He will get his minutes. Sometimes in the 10 roles, sometimes in Bruno's first high. We'll see a lot on that. I'm not too worried about the situation.
Yeah.
Anyone else wants to add anything? We can read the chat this way.
No, I think also yes. I mean, there are cases like we can always have an argument, and I think Mainoo, to me as well, that today Mainoo probably fits slightly better and shows more value in that midfield too than Bruno. But obviously Bruno is almost kind of like undroppable.
It's impractical right now to think.
It's impractical right now as well, but
it ruins the team balance. Yeah.
I mean, Mainoo might also give you kind of a security on the ball, which none of the midfielders or none of our backline, I mean, also really have. So in cases like Grimsby or somewhere, where teams are aggressively pressing you, as I think Mahadevan has mentioned, right? You will definitely find value for someone like Mainoo over someone like Bruno, because Bruno might lose the ball quite easily.
Anant has made a great entry into the chat, by the way. Comes in and says United is a Finnish club. Left its own club culture of youth courage success.
That's true. I mean, we have who's our only youth player left who can probably make starts in this
What I can say is a little unrelated with Fredrickson.
Yeah,
it's bad.
His positioning, composure on the ball, he's not ready. Like, I don't want to shit on a young player, but he's not. Like, he's nowhere near even ready to start.
We might not start, so technically.
To be honest, even Heaven was bad that day, but yeah.
Heaven is an academy player? Okay, sure.
Not an academy player, but yeah, youth current success, not just
Euros are good. Euros done well. Euros done well. It's good. But yes, from an academy point of view, it's not looking really good. We have Heaton and Mainoo as our only two academy players.
Mainoo is starting today.
He posted on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Option.
Fredrickson reminded me of Van Bissaka. Says, he did not mark that guy, the guy who scored. Like Fredrickson's positioning was so bad in the first goal. So, does make a good argument. So I agree with what Haben said. Ki we don't necessarily need to change the formation. He needs to change his instructions a little bit.
So some more flexibility after making a first sub is more important. Yeah. After, if you're training a game and you have 3 centre backs, just remove one guy out and get someone, an attacker, a midfielder, or anyone. Just throw a system out for a while and then that pissed me off a lot more than anything. Is when you're losing, you start bringing on defenders instead of putting in.
That almost worked out for him. To be fair, Maguire's header almost got in, and that.
Getting Maguire is fine, but I would still say I would
both the players are defenders. That's a horrible idea.
I think that happened. I think that happened only against Fulham, Harish. I think against Grimsby, so he was just bringing on one attacking player after the other, trying to make something.
And Delict was overlapping. Delict was all
exactly.
More touches in the box than Mbomo, man. That was wild.
That game was atrocious, but yeah.
I guess also the Ugarte substitution against Fulham. It's mostly Fulham, but still.
Yeah. Fulham was bad sub-wise. Yeah.
Nikhil also makes a good point here. If you play a 2-man midfield, especially, a 2-man midfield can perfectly work fine, but not with the options that we have. If you're playing Bruno, then you anyway need a physical beast of someone who's very mobile and someone who can, take care of a lot of defensive duties in place of him. And I think Casemiro has done well so far, jitna usne khela hai, but I still don't think the options that we have are really suited to a midfield too. Neither a wing back. The system needs. So that's also understandable when fans say ki we play 5 defenders. I don't think we always play 5 defenders, but what I don't like is, and what's understandable is, we play in a very defensive minded way. Defending with back 5 is also not a problem. Arteta does that too. We've seen Arteta have you seen whenever there's a transition, Arteta's entire team runs back. So defending with 5 is not really problematic, but the way we attack, have you seen whenever the ball progresses high, there's only 1 or 2 players near the box. We don't have
been a concern.
Our wing backs need to be making those runs where they immediately join the attack, immediately add options to the attack, and I think that's where a big problem lies, and that's where my problem also lies with the system. There's a learning curve for players like we have discussed earlier as well. Bruno is learning to play in that role. Our right wing backs are still learning to play that role.
I'll ask you a question here. So, do you think is it because our players have not yet adjusted to that kind of, the wing backs going forward are not kind of adjusted to going forward, being more brave on the ball. Even the centre backs, right? If you look at the centre backs, I think except the central centre back, even the left centre back and right centre back are expected to move forward in the ideal Amorim system. But do you think is it a thing where our defenders have not adjusted to these tactics, which I don't think so, or do you think it's just not a lot of confidence in the goalkeeper that we have currently? Is that they're scared to go forward, make a mistake, and they know that they don't have a goalkeeper who's going to save their ass?
I agree with them being scared in general. They're scared in general, not just about the goalkeeper, but they look like a very anxious team. Whenever the ball comes in, I don't see a comfort in them when they're playing. Secondly, I don't think a lot of players have understood it. Euro understands it very well, and you see how well he carries the ball. Licha also understands the system. Heaven is a little race, and this what you said is a very good point. Players are hesitant. Players know what is asked of them, but they still haven't understood the system well. Because Dalot is a fullback, Ahmad is a winger. None of them is a wing back. Ahmad doesn't know how to play a wing back, and Dalot doesn't know how to attack. So both of them are still learning, and I don't think both of them have understood the role. What I found a little interesting during the preseason was that Ahmad was joining the midfield, adding bodies there, and that was all, not only helping us add more bodies in the midfield, but also was helping us build up an awful lot. And I don't know why we reverted to it. So I think it's key. The players still haven't understood the system, and then this comes down to the manager because you had an entire preseason. If your players are still figuring it out, then there's also that argument that he's just come in, and to be fair, he only has signed 3 players and 4 players. Like if you also count Togo, and you wouldn't really complain. Your complaints wouldn't be from those players who have just joined in to not understand the roles. The complaint is from the other players. Na, to, then you can still think maybe the players he has, they're not understanding the system.
But and he's also shelled out quite a few players. So yeah, I mean, that argument can still stand that players
are need forwards.
Adjusting.
It's more than obviously you're moving 4 forwards out. You obviously need at least 2 forwards.
Yeah.
So वो तो understandable है. He needed more defenders too, but I think it's a bit of both. पहली बात तो how come your system is so complicated that the players are not getting it? समझ रहे हो? Like, is it the first time a manager has come in with a new system and players have not really understood it?
I think Shubham bhai, some of the problems are not specific to the system. For example, the one of the problems which you stated of not attacking the box. I mean, this was a problem since Ferguson left, I would say. This was a problem with Ole. This was a problem with Ten Hag. We are not bombing the box with forward players attacking the box. So when any of our wingers or any of our fullbacks is crossing the ball, I hardly see 1 or 2 players in the box. So this has been a problem in the 4-2-3-1 system as well. So I don't think this is a system problem, the one which you talked about. Regarding the goalkeeper, I think the goalkeeper has been a problem. Onana, Bayandir, both of the keepers which we have, these are not competent keepers. So even though the players might have understood what he's tried to convey in terms of the system, maybe there is a hesitancy of going forward because of the howlers they make. So that's again a bad thing. But yeah, we have to solve one problem at a time. And if your bomb squad is having 4 to 5 or 4, I think 3 or 4 forwards, you're gonna have to replace those first, and then we can address the midfield issue and then the goalkeeper. So it's gonna take some time. But yeah, the concerns are definitely valid.
I have a question with Shetty bhai. So tell me this. So first of all, so what Chaitanya said, he does make a good point. I think this was a problem with Ten Hag, that he wanted his CBs to push high. It was not a lot to ask for, but his centre back still won't push high, and there would be a big gap left in the midfield. And that was, you can argue that was a problem with the manager. You can also argue that was a little bit of players not really being too afraid and not taking the risk. So what do you make of it? Do you think there's a balanced, like there's a bit of fault from both sides, or do you think who's more responsible for it? Why do you think it's happening?
I think it's a bit of fault from both sides, right? I'd say, because as a manager, you have to. Your job is to make players understand and make it easy for them to build up. And this is something I see with any managers out there, any world class managers, be it Klopp, Arteta, or Pep. Even if when they have come during their first season, you saw the signs, right? Even with the inferior players they had. So this is something I want to see with any of the modern day managers, be it Ten Hag or Amorim. But at the same time, I would say it's also a bit with the players as well. I think our team as a whole, I would say the culture has been a bit defensive for the last decade. Because even if you see, if we are leading 2-1 with 80 minutes down, like last 10-15 minutes remaining, you just park the bus and just defend.
Yeah.
Be it any team, be it Man City or be it Fulham. So this has been a problem for a long time, I would say. It's a bit of a cultural issue. I don't know what it is.
Players don't have the confidence, that is understandable.
Yeah.
But then it also comes down to our recruitment, how bad it has been. Like, how come are we always spending 200? Like, every of the past managers, they all have spent 200, 300, 400, 500 million on
I would
players, and
say
still we are left with players who
I
need,
would say
like,
the last
chicken.
two recruitment cycle has been pretty much successful in that manner, because most
Hmm.
of these players that we have signed,
The one in which we got Onana?
no, not the one since last year. Uh,
Hmm.
So most of the players that we have signed, I would say they are a proper fit to United, and something that they could be adaptable to any manager out there.
Hmm.
So apart from Ugarte, I'd say most of the signings have been uh, pretty much good so far. I don't have much
Hmm.
complaints from them.
Though
And
all teams don't get all of their signings right as well, so in that regard, our success rate has been
I think it's obviously,
decent.
yeah, and also a bit of complication from Amorim system as well. It's all about the wing back part, right? Because it's pretty much clear the right wing back part is pretty much struggling right now, because Daller knows how to attack, but he gets into the box, he doesn't know how to cross or put in a cutback, anything. And at the same time, he struggles with defending as well, because he is defending as a fullback in his mind.
Hmm.
He isn't aggressive with it. And problem with Ahmad, he is a bit slow, whatever it is. Dorgu, I would say, depends what kind of confidence he has on that given day. If he is confident, he is going to give you performance like he did versus Arsenal. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you will see him struggle. So that's a classic thing, I would say. So it's a bit of
Let's see.
inexperience, and
But he is the best player who has adapted to that wing back role for the data size we have
yeah,
till date.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let's check the chart a little bit.
Yeah.
So Nikhil says ex-fullbacks are expected to attack in the system like a winger, but most fullbacks are wingers who have failed to be good there in their youth terms. There are a lot of midfielders who also go there. Who there are also centre backs who go become fullbacks. But
Hmm.
that is a fair point to make. And then Heyman says it's not that complicated. Just move forward and backward in the same line, making a certain direction of passes. when team block, when teams block routines, players go hoopball. He's not wrong. ये चीज हमने
I
डिस्कस
mean,
भी करी है कि
in a way, he's not wrong.
wing backs just need to be horses who are running back and forth, but they do need to do a lot of running, and which they are not doing. And
they
again,
need to be
is
aggressive
it
while defending as well.
then again the argument comes the same, and this is the question that I have for the chat. Ki, do you guys think it is more down to Amorim getting something out of them that they're not able to bring, or it's down to the players to actually take more risks and try to adapt to a system better? Like if you're a wing back, go forward much more. If you're a I don't know, if you're a deep midfielder like Bruno, you need to be a little more disciplined on the ball. If you're a centre back, you need to carry the ball more, pass a little more centrally. So do you guys think it's a tactical issue or it's a personnel issue? What do you guys think? I mean, this is for the chart. Nikhil said wasn't an issue under Mourinho. Ole, they have played multiple formations during their time here. ओले तो यार 4-2-3-1 ही खेला है पूरे टाइम
छोड़ के कुछ खेला ही नहीं है ओले वो तो.
Mourinho played 4-3-3. Mourinho has mostly played 4-3-3 if I'm not wrong.
Actually, only बीच में खेला है in big games.
Some games, I mean, it depends on injuries, but we've not been in, like our players have not
Mostly in
been
big
so
games, I would
injured.
say. Very
Yeah.
rushes
I mean,
different
when
much.
it's wrong to compare when managers have injuries and don't have injuries,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
I would say it's a full fit squad. I don't think Ole has really changed much in his formation. And I can think of that thing, right? You remember when he was about to get the sack and then he wanted to try Sancho as a right wing.
Wing back.
Yeah.
That was a horrible.
What a
Move
news.
into back three. And then, but then he
That
said
was
no
a
and
shocker
he
game as
stuck
well.
to.
When did Ole play back three, Somnajit, my friend? He's saying Ole sometimes played 3 at the back. I don't really recall Ole playing 3 at the back.
I think it was the Wolves game, but yeah, even that was a back.
एक दो गेम खिला दिया तो अलग बात है.
Leipzig, I guess.
अच्छा, he's saying 3 at the back was against Paris and Spurs El Sacco match. क्या ये तो बहुत छोटा sample size है यार सोमजीत. Like if the manager was constantly, like अगर तुम 5 गेम गिना रहे हो over 2 years, तो that's not really a lot of. lot of games.
10 games.
Only switch between diamond formations. That is correct.
Hmm.
He did do that. He did that against RB Leipzig, I think, which worked out really well.
Against PSG as well, when Pogba came on.
Or further to that argument could also be made for Amorim, who has also changed his shape a lot. You've seen so many tactical threads about how our off-ball position is. Off-ball shape is now 4-4-2. So like he's been here for a small time, so you don't really have a lot of sample size as well to analyze it. Mahadevan says,
Amorim needs to do. But I mean, I think everyone in the chat would also say the same thing. It's not the players. I think we have kind of had two good seasons where we had good transfer windows, and almost all the players Barugate are in our starting lineup right now.
Yep.
Euro, I think Zogzi is also useful. Euro is a great signing. Who else did we sign last year?
Delete
has been very good. Mazraoui to injured here. I don't think he comes in and makes a big difference either.
But yeah, in
Right.
back four he's pretty much good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
he's a
as
good
a third
option.
centre back. Yeah, he's a good option.
So in that sense, I think I mean we all know Amorim is very, very flexible and rigid in his system. But the early part of last year was all because he was an interim manager and he wanted to see whom he wanted to keep in his team and whom he wanted to sell based on the fact of how many people are adapting to his system and how many people were struggling to adapt to his system. But he's also gotten all the people that he didn't want out of the club by all means possible, right? So in that case, right now he does have players where he's kind of accepted and told the board that these are players who I think will fit into my system or my style of play or my ideology, whatever it is. It's 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, whatever numbers you want to give the system or whatever it is. But technically, the players that he has today is his approved players that these guys can fit into my ideology.
Definitely.
So if there are issues with the system which everyone can see, there are flaws with the system which everyone can see, I think it's on the manager who needs to adapt his ideology, change his system, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond obviously he needs to change things because the system is not working out, and you also have to be little pragmatic as well. I mean, if you can clearly see your players are not able to adjust to it, then give it a little bit of time. Like, be a little more pragmatic and just make things work until you get more players and players who are actually able to play the kind of way that you want to play. And what Nikhil says here is I partially agree with that. He has struggled to platform his players and getting the best of their skill set. I think for some players this system is suited really well. I feel Cunha's, I don't think there's any system that suits Cunha's position playing style more than this system. I also one thing that I want to point out is which is very misunderstood in the system. A lot of people think the forwards that we have behind the striker are 10s, which they are not really 10s. I don't think they are 10s. Like the Cunha role that 10s are not really required to be good in to be good at take-ons, to be mobile, to be fast, and the kind of asks that we have for those roles, they look like more like wide forwards sometimes who also drift in. Like the roles are closer to that of not exactly wingers, because wingers you expect them to be more a touchline.
Inside forward.
But yeah, more of inside forwards, correct. Inside forwards who also drop deep. This system suits Euro very well, I think. It suits Shaw, but who gives a fuck about Shaw? But it does not suit a lot of players. It does not suit Mainoo, Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte को तो कोई system दुनिया का suit नहीं कर सकता. He's a walking bomb. It doesn't suit our wing backs, right wing backs, Dalo, Ahmad. So he needs to make changes to the system in a way that it has the word Karl Anka said. Sorry to bring Karl Anka into the conversation, Harish, but he did say
violating group rules.
Yeah, like if you need to back someone, you back them by protecting them, by hiding their weaknesses. I don't think the system does that for us. Amorim needs to stand closer to the players during training at carrying time, so he can what? So he can touch them
how
more.
Can we make judgments on that? I really not.
No. But I'm genuinely curious. Why does he want him to stand close to players? Like what have you seen that Pep ka photo जिसमें वो एक प्लेयर को टच लाइन पे ऐसे 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 करके ऐसे कर रहा है. Is that what you're asking him to like do at the touch line?
By the way, off the topic, I hope you haven't forgotten the FPL deadline and created your teams.
Holy shit. नहीं मैंने कल कर लिया. Fair enough. What else do you guys want us to? वैसे हाँ, like I just want to point it out. This is Ritvik's first message. He did point out a lot of games जिसमें Ole has played a back three, which is fair. I think बहुत ज़्यादा system को change करना is also stupidity. तो Ole has adapted well to big games, and I think big games में you need to set up your teams, and most games में you need to have that ability. So I have always liked Ole's approach to big games because it has delivered results. When you play a big game, you don't always want those big games to be
predictable.
like those you don't want to play too beautifully. Like your first priority is to get a win there, get a result there. Like larger part of the season में खेलो beautiful football.
Secure, I would say, yeah.
To be honest, big games we have also played well under Amorim, but it needs to be seen under games in the outside of the big six, especially the bottom half teams. So
Somnajit said Amorim is a PE teacher. बहुत ज़मानों बाद ये word सुना मैंने PE teacher वाला.
Classic.
Yeah.
anyway,
Is he talking about Bruno या फिर?
No, he's talking about FPL.
Amorim, I guess.
ठीक है यार, अब बर्नले डिस्कस करना है. what चलो पहले बर्नले का वो करते हैं प्रीव्यू. Who do you guys think would start? Let's start from the keeper. So I think it's pretty obvious Binder is starting.
Binder, yeah.
What's your expected back three?
Delete.
You? Delete Euro?
Delete Euro
Shaw का I guess.
and Shaw.
Shaw or Heaven?
But
Yeah.
left footed guy चालू करेगा, so he won't start.
Shaw से ही खेलेगा, start करेगा वो.
Heaven had a horrible game versus Grimsby, so.
I have a feeling he might start Maguire, maybe because Maguire wants to get into the England squad. Possible.
फिर तो Mainoo भी start कर जाएगा ऐसे.
Maybe. Who knows?
अच्छा, सबसे पहले I want to ask you, do you think he makes a change to the formation?
No.
No, I don't think it's at least till now. At least till the international break, he won't touch his formation.
No, even in the post-match press conference and the press conference again before Burnley, he said he's not making any changes to the system. So that's not happening.
So I'm asking the chat who starts at the left wing back role, LCB role.
Left wing back to Dorgu है ना?
Left center back.
Left centre back.
Dubravka has the clean sheet coming. Now, I have started Dubravka because I think we make a lot of low XG shots and he'll get save points. So like if he makes 9 saves, so I have 3 points. So I have also brought in Cunha because most of our attacks are coming through him. I do expect him to get
I
some
have
a
my free
feeling-
hit this week.
I have a feeling he might start Mainoo, Casemiro, and Bruno, and drop Mount for this game.
Drop Mbumo.
Mount is saying.
And
Mount,
Bruno and
I
Mount
don't
first.
think Mount is starting anywhere. I mean, your front three is Sesko.
No, I don't think Sesko might
Sesko
start.
is a doubt. I think he had a hand.
Bro,
Cramp,
he
right?
pulled his hand.
He had a cramp for the game. I don't think that was more of a game thing. I don't think he. But if Sesko is dropped, I think Zogby starts.
Unless he guarantees you 60 minutes.
Yeah, Zirkzee is also an option.
He looked very sharp as well.
Yeah, he looked very sharp. Yeah. That was one of the positives.
Against tired Grimsby team.
Going into this game.
Grimsby. Huh?
We definitely need a focal point going into this game. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
Sesko.
Although Cunha did pretty well as a striker, which I did not expect.
But yeah, he's going to drop deep a lot of time, right? So
But we'll need him as a 10 only, to be very honest. Cunha, that role only, not as a striker.
Somebody says Mount has got Amorim's private videos. Also, you guys think Dalot starts or Ahmad start? I do expect Ahmad to start this one.
I don't think Ahmad has a good game
I'll
against
go with
Grimsby.
Ahmad, I would say.
But Dalot has been awful. And you would need a lot more. I do agree with that. But I do expect him to come up with a more attacking approach.
Go to right wing and Luke Shaw left wing back.
Luke Shaw would not be playing wing back.
Brother 30 मिनट नहीं खेल पाएगा वो as a wing back.
Yeah.
वो पिच से बाहर चला जाएगा, उसको वर्ल्ड कप जाना है भाई.
इस मिनट खेलने की बात भी नहीं है, get injured.
I don't think this is Luke Shaw's World Cup year. I mean, if he gets injured, he'll probably come back by January or February before the World Cup starts to get that place. But
And Cunha has played 9 for RB Leipzig or Athletic. He has played 9 for Wolves as well. The thing is ki when Wolves were playing him closer to the goal, his output was not that good. And when he was given the freedom to play a little deeper, then he did well. And I do think you get best out of Cunha when he's given a more free role, when he drops in deep, and you get the most because when he carries the ball, that's what disrupts the defenses. And we don't really have a lot of disruptors in our team. Bruno cannot do that.
He plays a massive role there.
Yeah. Why did we not buy Alvaro is baffling. That's a good talking point. I think Alvaro is not rated by our coaching staff. I think
he's not
because
physical enough for this.
He didn't get his
by
move to
our
Madrid,
scouts.
right? Yeah.
He got a. Why I think it's not a Ten Hag issue. Okay? When Ten Hag left, we still had a chance to sign him just for 10 millions. But what we did, we decided to spend 35 million on Patrick Dorgo. So that just clearly means he is not rated by people who have closely watched him play or whatever. I mean, that's what I think. That's the reasoning out of it.
Maybe
Whether
it's
it's
a
right or wrong, I don't know. I also don't know how well he'll do for Madrid. I would want him to play at the high level first and do something and then. Right. And Darwin Núñez also did very well. Just I'm not saying.
Mahadevan says, see this chat. Mahadevan says, sometimes it's funny to see us go long to Cunha and Mbumo when Sasko is not there, and then when he's on the pitch, we do the exact opposite.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I
It is
have
absolutely-
feeling we would go long much more often, and Onana might play a big role. That was what we discussed before Fulham's game, I think, or after Fulham it was.
Before
But Binder can also make those passes. Did you not see his pass to Cunha?
Binder has a better distribution.
Passing is not really a.
Yeah.
I mean,
But we
Onana
need
at
to
his
use
peak.
it like Grimsby were man to man, very aggressive in the press, right? These were the cases where you pass long to the striker and then hope he does a layoff or some kind of a thing.
Soumyajit is shitting on everyone, bhai. He's saying Dorgu has lesser brain cells than Fono while losing.
तो अभी आया है भाई उसके पीछे मत पड़ जाओ.
Dorgu, I think, is not really a concern. Like,
Yeah.
Ideally, I would have liked Dorgu to be a rotation option at the moment. I think someone gave, I don't remember where I saw it, but someone gave a very good example. Ki if you really want to see what difference it makes to have a good wing back, you see how interplays. See the way DeMarco plays and Dumfries plays, and see how much they go forward, how much involved they are, and how much they're doing that running up and down on the pitch. I don't think our right wing backs especially are doing that.
That's a finished product, right? This is a developing product. There's a difference, huge difference.
Yeah, Dallo तो अब वही बात है कि Dallo का वो गेम नहीं है, and फिर तो you will just think कि Dallo should be sold, which I also think we could do better than him.
Technically, it should be so. But ठीक है.
Yeah, but how many players can you think of in the world who would actually make good wing backs? I think Semenyo would make a fantastic wing back. That's just me thinking he will. I don't think how well he'll do defensively. He's a hard-working player and can play nice. He's tidy with the ball as well. So I would really want us to go for him, but I don't know if not really a coach or a scout to understand if he's really suited to a wing back role.
Or if he's
I really like him too, but yeah,
I would like
defensively
Grimaldo.
I'm not sure.
Grimaldo next season, ideally.
Grimaldo. Then you have also invested in Leon. तो हाँ तो ऐसे में you can play Dorgu at the right wing back role, Grimaldo as a left wing back.
Leon will still definitely need 2-3 years to get in. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But physicality है हरीश भाई for Grimaldo to suit Prem.
Good option to have. I mean, that's all.
नहीं, but he does make a good point. कि physicality is a genuine issue. Bundesliga में बैठ के खेल रहा है. Feeble सा भी लगता है बड़ा मुझे पता लगा.
I like him as an option. He's going to be experienced. I mean, Shaw might leave right after next season, hopefully.
Shaw, who even counts Shaw as an option? Like very honestly asking. Left center back options भी तुम Heaven और Licha को देखते हो यार.
Balance between wing backs and like full backs, you need an experienced guy. And I mean, even though he's not playing as a wing back or a full back, you still have his experience to help.
He did well for England in that role, wing back role. But
So
then he could run.
Sean, I think
all of us guys, Dalot becomes the most senior guy in the squad. I mean, for free guys. So,
No, Mazraoui is seen more is has more
Mazhar
experience.
is probably like 2-3 years of good top football experience. If we
Chalo bhai, Hemant bhai, bye. Hemant is leaving. Bye all the clubs.
So we'll also wrap up, I think.
Time हो गया.
Score line
Let's just discuss. Yeah.
Any
The
closing
team and
thoughts?
scoreline.
What do you guys think? Did we miss anything? Is there anything that you guys want to hear? या फिर wrap up किया जाए?
I think just let's discuss the team and scoreline.
हाँ,
That's it.
ठीक है, fair. तो बैक थ्री हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं यूरो, डेलिट एंड लेफ्ट सेंटर बैक कौन?
Luke Shaw.
Sure.
Shaw and Harish thinks कि Delit will play right centre back, Euro will play left centre back, and Maguire will be in the middle.
It's Burnley, right?
I think
But
that's what he's
but
thinking.
Who knows?
Something like that. I have a feeling I have a feeling Euro or Delete, one of these two might be rested. For Maguire.
Euro was fully rested in the last game, so Euro does start this one. Delit was also benched in the last game, so you would expect Delit to start as well.
Maybe then maybe no Maguire. Not sure what.
Somebody is saying roast someone. This is Manchester United we're talking about. मतलब रोस्ट करने की क्या जरूरत है भाई, पूरी टीम में जोक बन चुकी है.
Do never underestimate.
हाँ, अरे भाई इतना सेंसेशनल आदमी है फैब्रिज़ियो रोमानो, इतना ड्रामेटिक साले को बॉलीवुड में लेके आओ. Never underestimate Manchester United.
Benjamin Sesko. Euros, 80 million euros.
भाई ट्वीट लिखा है मैंने उसके लिए भाई, घमंड है इस बात का, चोमो के लिए ट्वीट लिखा है. यार एनीवे फील्ड पे आते हैं. कैसे मिलो इन दोनों रिगास्टिंग they'll start.
Most likely, yeah. He won't drop.
Yeah, I think so.
इतना
Bring back Dorgu and Amad.
Yeah.
Um,
Mostly.
Yeah.
Dalot.
I think Dorgu and Dallo and Ahmad might come in the second half. If we still don't score.
I wouldn't start Dallo भाई. I wouldn't start Dallo.
I would start
He
Amad.
goes with Amar.
To be honest, those
भाई
are the
फिर
two
तो उसको
options. You
खिलाओ.
have to choose one of the two.
टोको सलामांका वो. लेफ्ट बैक लियोन खिलाओ, राइट बैक उसको खिलाओ.
I was hoping I'd see him against Grimsby, but ठीक है.
चार्ट प्रेडिक्ट द स्कोर लाइन. स्कोर प्रेडिक्ट करो भाई चार्ट पे सब. फ्रंट थ्री बताओ भाई, चलो तुम लोग फ्रंट थ्री क्या होगा?
Embo.
ओके.
Sesko
Cunha, Mbumo,
Sesko
Sesko,
starts.
Zerzi.
और Zogzi.
Yeah.
For
Who
me, no,
starts?
I don't
Sesko
think.
is
I don't think.
If Sesko is fit, Sesko starts. Yeah.
Otherwise, Zerzi.
Otherwise, Zerzi will get a cameo of maybe half time or something. Till up to half time.
Fair. Score prediction.
I just want us to win, to be honest. I'm not even giving any
a score
prediction.
prediction. I'm not saying what you wish for the game. I'm saying कि
Fernandes is starting, right?
Yeah,
Fernandes.
he's starting.
हाँ, तो
Sorry?
एक गोल तो जाने ही वाला है, confirm. So,
एक गोल
assuming that it's 2-1 या 3-1.
2-1 पकड़ ले भाई.
भाई जब स्कोर प्रेडिक्शंस कर रहे हो सब चार्ट में ये जरूर बताओ who wins. देखो इस पॉइंट पे तो ये इम्पोर्टेंट है बताना.
FPL में कौन select किया यार भाई मेरे को गोलकीपर में?
I think
Fantasy Premier League में.
what will happen, we'll concede first. First half we won't do anything, and then maybe second half depends on luck. Maybe he score 2 goals or he score 1 goal.
Nice.
So
That's a nicer prediction कि how the game will play out.
That's the most standard one ना, वही होने वाला.
And then it depends basically. Maguire scores a goal or Mainoo scores a goal, or do they not score a goal at the end of 90 minutes?
Maguire has a better chance of scoring a goal. But yeah.
Maguire's last 5 goals have been equalizers or winners, late equalizers or winners. For the
See, Maguire is
His head
for clutch.
well actually now these days.
Yeah. अब his head is no longer square, अब थोड़ा सा ओवल हो
नहीं
गया.
जाता, पहले ऊपर जाता था.
पहले ऐसे टकरा के कहीं भी पिन बॉल हो जाती थी बॉल.
Now
Also
it's
because
directly
we are not scoring anything, right? If you don't score anything, obviously whatever he scores looks like a lot.
That's also true, but
I think we'll start off with a lot of intensity, lot of running. Someone will make a mistake
थक जाएंगे.
and then we'll pussy out in the whole game.
First 20 minutes will be good kind of a thing.
हाँ फर्स्ट 20 मिनट्स में विल बी प्लेइंग वेरी इंटेंस फुटबॉल वेरी मच. उसमें अगर गोल मार ले गए एक दो बच जाएगा. आई थिंक उसी पे हम राइड कर रहे हैं.
It's a home game, right?
Yeah.
आई थिंक सो. हाँ
So home
सही है.
advantage.
who scores the goal if United score? Cunha.
Tougher than a lottery question, to be honest. But okay.
Casemiro Maguire.
Who?
Casemiro
Prediction. Yeah. Harish is a gambler, proper gambler.
कैसे मेरा भगवान अच्छा.
Casemiro
Yeah.
Maguire is the safest prediction right
He
now.
scored 3 goals so far and 2 of them have been from set pieces.
Yeah.
We are
That's
asking.
the state we are in. But yeah, I'm hoping one of our forwards score today. Mbumo scored a nice goal the other day.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can
own goal.
replicate.
Esteve own goal would be so perfect for FPLY. I would love to see it happen.
So you don't own Esteve. Okay.
I do own him, but he's on my bench, so I want him to. I also want Bruno to miss a penalty, but United to still win it, because Bruno is owned by a lot of people. I have Dubravka, so he gets penalty save points. Like that's my FPL wish card.
Yeah, I hope we have stopped the live streaming.
ठीक है. चलो score predictions हो गए सबके ना. I expect a comfortable United win 3-0.
Oh my god.
Bhai Sahab.
ना positivity.
Positivity
I
नहीं,
think-
pragmatically I think.
I think my ghost has entered Shubham Bhai. Anyways.
नहीं ऐसे you would expect them to turn up after a performance
They
like
have
that.
to, right?
You would. Hopefully they do. Yeah.
You cannot put a pathetic performance in a home game now.
Yeah.
Okay then, chalo everyone. Hope we get a win today and we get a good win today.
Sure.
So many things 4-1 Burnley. Chalo, bye bye.